So Caitlin Clark appears on the Bird and Taurasi show, and there is a lot of fun banter that comes out of it, including Taurasi herself calling out reality is coming. So Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi were adding color commentary for ESPN2 covering the women's NCAA final championship of UConn against South Carolina, of which was a blowout, not that fun of a game, and it was just total dominance of UConn over South Carolina. But towards the end of the game, Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird on their Bird and Taurasi show had Caitlin Clark on as a guest. And I, for one, was just waiting for the reality is coming nod. I thought maybe Caitlin Clark would use her dry-witted sense of humor to call it out, or that Diana Taurasi herself would make some sort of wisecrack, which is exactly what happened.
Oh,
congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats.
Now, unfortunately, reality is coming to me now.
And if you aren't aware, Diana Taurasi did, ahead of Caitlin Clark entering the WNBA, she had spoken to ESPN's Scott Van Pelt in an interview saying, reality is coming to all these rookies. The remark was about all of the rookie class. A lot of people thought that it was mainly directed towards Caitlin Clark with the hype that she was having coming into the WNBA. But the question was framed towards the rookie class. This put quite a lot of people into a tizzy, and it was never forgotten, and is possibly part of Diana Taurasi's legacy at the moment. Though, if you look at what she actually did in her over 20 years of playing basketball, she added so much. Now, Taurasi is very well known for her zest on the court. Off the court, she has a pretty sharp tongue, but she has garnered the respect of many WNBA athletes and has become a legend in the sport herself. While she did have her doubts about Caitlin entering the WNBA and how dominant she would be, she seems to have come around, as I'm sure playing on the court with Caitlin Clark, it is kind of irrefutable at the talents that Caitlin Clark possesses. And Diana Taurasi, who is now retired as of February 26th, actually mentioned how much of an honor it was to play with Caitlin Clark and how amazing she was, and that she can't wait to watch her next season.
What was it like for you two to play against each other?
It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe, and to be on the court and the first game was in Phoenix, and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot, we've been doing this for a long time. To see Caitlin do what she does is, I think someone said the other day, I'm like, I want the season to start so I can watch you again.
Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi did also ask her what she's been up to in the offseason. They kind of made some funny jokes about her guns and the viral picture that has pretty much, I think, everybody has seen. And Caitlin mentions that she's working on her mid-range and her floater, as is totally evident from the workout videos that the Indiana Fever have released.
There's the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened?
How did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
AI is getting out of control. Come on. But no, just honestly trying to get stronger.
What are you doing in the off-season working on your game?
You're trying to get stronger, a lot of time in the weight room, and it's something I kind of enjoy, so it's been pretty easy for me to spend time in there and really work on that part of my game. And I think the biggest thing on the court is just that mid-range area. I got pretty uncomfortable in there when I would get in there, whether that's I didn't really have any floater. I didn't like taking a mid-range jump shot, so just getting more comfortable when I get my feet kind of into the paint, and honestly trying to just add a floater to my game, and finishing through contact and in little things like that.
She really just wanted to get in that weight room, get stronger, be able to like go up against the bigger players in the WNBA, as it was pretty evident last season that she was pushed around pretty easily and doesn't want that to happen again. When they did ask her about how she felt about the new team that has been put together around her for next season, it's kind of weird because to me, she did seem a little kind of like nervous about how the team's chemistry and how long it would take to develop, which if you watched last season, it did take a little bit of time for AB, Kelsey Mitchell, and everybody else to kind of develop that chemistry before they just started dominating towards the latter part of the season. But she does state the exact same thing that I've been saying, which on paper, this team is good. And some of the things that she's excited about is like the veteran presence. She is so excited to play with Stephanie White, who she calls a great basketball mind. But honestly, one of the best things about watching this interview was just seeing Caitlin Clark's poise, which is a word that she actually used to describe Paige Bueckers. And she really just had nothing but praise to say about everybody and everything. And one of the funnier things was how she had called out the Dallas Wings to get their second game moved to a bigger arena. Because if you don't know, there's now 6 WNBA teams that have moved their games against the Indiana Fever to larger arenas. Those are the teams that had some smaller arenas to accommodate like the soaring demand from the fans. And the Dallas Wings have moved one of their 2 matchups against the Indiana Fever to a larger arena. But with Paige Bueckers coming in to the league, Caitlin Clark thinks Bueckers has that star power and that draw to be able to like fill a lot of seats. And she calls out the Dallas Wings to move their second game, which is a 7,000 seat arena, to the American Airlines Center, which is a 20,000 seat arena.
You know, honestly, they should move every game to American Airlines because I think Paige has that type of draw. Like, she'll be able to bring those type of fans in. I know we're playing there, one of our games. Hopefully the other one gets moved too. We would appreciate that, Dallas Wings, if you can move the other one. But
I love them. I love this.
Bueckers, who has a similar hype that Caitlin Clark does, I don't think it's on the same level, but she is an amazing player. And Bueckers does have a loyal fan base. Between what she does on the court and how she handles herself off the court, she only adds to the growth of women's basketball. And when Caitlin Clark was asked about how she felt about Paige Bueckers, she was pretty classy about it. And this is what she says.
It's like one of the greatest things about her game is just her poise and her maturity, and nothing ever seems to faze her. And, you know, it's just always the same. She's always the same constant leader.
Overall, I really did enjoy watching this interview. I thought it was very interesting, just the dynamic of how Caitlin Clark balances being so well media trained and so well spoken and classy with also being such a kid. And I think it's that composure, what she does on the court with how she handles herself off the court, that really propelled Caitlin Clark into the phenomenon that she is today. And you can watch the interview. I'll link it in my description below. And when she started talking about training camp coming up, the preseason games, it really got me hyped for the 2025 WNBA season.